ain't no thing but chicken thigh. Feels like chaos in the other room right now, so we're in a new location. Brand new location. Chicken thighs. They are on sale, they are cheap, and they are delicious. A baby squirreling. Lately, the only chicken I've really seen on sale is chicken thighs. I've seen them for as low as 69 cents a pound. That's like stock up prices, go crazy, buy them all. But what are we gonna do with them all? I'm always looking for new chicken thigh recipes because I'm always buying chicken thighs because I'm cheap. I'm trying to save money, and that's what's on sale. I like it. Less than $1 a pound. I'm in for all the things less than $1 a pound. So here are some chicken thigh recipes and ideas for you so that you can be encouraged to purchase the chicken thighs. Don't be scared. They are delicious. These meals are so easy, and they're so cheap because they're just like rice, veggies, chicken, but so good. So be ready. Get excited. Here they are. All right, this first recipe is for easy oven baked chicken and rice. And I love this because you're cooking your chicken and your rice at the same time. And it's all going in the oven. It's kind of a set it and forget it once you get done with the first few steps. So you want to take 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, 2 teaspoons of light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme, 1 teaspoon of paprika, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And you can also add 1/4 teaspoon of cracked black pepper if you'd like. And as you guys know, I keep it real, so there's something on my sleeve here, definitely from a kid or a baby, and it is what it is. That's how I was cooking that day, not cleaned up. And then you want to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil to this mixture, and we're going to make like a paste, and this is going to go over all of our chicken thighs. The recipe calls for 6 bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs, and actually it says you can use bone-in or bone-out, so I happen to have the bone-in ones, and that's what I'm dealing with today because those are the ones that are so cheap lately. Now you can be dainty and use a fork and try and mix everything up that way, but I'm just going to get in there with my hands, and that is my recommendation because that is going to help you really get a full coverage on these thighs, and I think that's what makes everything taste so good. So this flavor on this seasoning is amazing, and it just go ahead and make sure that the flavor and the seasoning is all massaged into those chicken thighs. For the rice, you're going to need 1 chopped onion, so we're going to bing bang boom chop this onion up real quick. Everything is going to be cooked in your favorite 13x9 pan, so go ahead and pour some oil or shortening or whatever you want to do to grease your pan. You can just spray some olive oil spray in there if you have that. Go ahead and add the onion to the 13x9 pan, followed by 2 tablespoons of butter, 1, 2, 3, 4 cloves of minced garlic, and 1.5 cups of hot chicken broth. Now I use chicken bouillon, so I just heated up my water and then put my bouillon in, and that worked out fine. If you need to cook your chicken broth ahead of time so that you're ready, go ahead and heat that hot chicken broth up before you get started on this. You're also going to need 1.25 cups of hot water, and I added that when I added the chicken bouillon since it was all mixed together anyway. But 1.5 cups of hot chicken broth and 1.25 cups of hot water. Sometimes I forget to do things in like a normal order, so at this point I'm adding 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Probably should have done that earlier, but it doesn't really matter because now we're going to mix in the butter and melt and mix everything together really well. To that mixture, add 1.5 cups of long grain white rice. I'm pretty sure I got this bag at the Dollar Tree, so you know that I use what I get there, and that makes this so cheap. So if you're using chicken bouillon, you're using 1 onion, a little bit of oil. If you don't have olive oil, go ahead and just use regular vegetable oil. That's going to be totally fine. If you don't have garlic, go ahead and use garlic powder. And if you need to, use margarine. So you can really cut down the price on this, and the flavor is still going to be there. It's going to be absolutely delicious. Everything is mixed really well. Arrange the thighs on the dish over the rice. And then we're going to cover this with foil and bake it for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes is up, uncover the chicken, and then it says spray it with oil. I don't even think that I did that, and bake for an additional 25 to 30 minutes or until the chicken is cooked fully through to the bone and everything is soft. At the end, you do want to take this out, change the oven settings to broil, and then brown the chicken for a few minutes, like 3 to 5 minutes over the top, and that will give you that crispy skin. Take the chicken thighs off the top and then mix around the rice. And then you want to cover it back up with tin foil for 10 minutes and let it sit for all the flavors to meld together. This meal was so amazing and so delicious. You may want to serve it with a vegetable, but it was late that night and I just ate it as it was with the rice. The rice has so much flavor and it is so cheap and so good. The next recipe is for a garlic butter chicken thigh. Now, garlic and butter, I am so in. All those things are delicious. There are only 5 ingredients in this recipe, and I will be using my trusty old, you can see very old Dutch oven that I still haven't cleaned yet. Also use a cast iron with a cover for this as well. Now, not shown, you want to pat your chicken thighs dry and put salt and pepper all over them. And then we're adding 1 tablespoon of olive oil, although I think at this point I only had canola oil, so I used canola oil in the bottom of the pan. You want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees and heat that olive oil on your skillet over medium heat. Once the olive oil is heated up, you want to add your chicken thighs. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The recipe calls for 5, but I did squeeze a 6th in there to make sure there was plenty of chicken for all of us. You want to cook the thighs until the skin is crispy, about 5 minutes. Once your chicken is flipped, add a 1/4 cup of butter and allow that to melt. While your butter's melting, you can add in 5 cloves of either crushed or minced garlic. You can see that I decided to mince mine. Once your butter is fully melted, you want to place this in the oven at 400 degrees for 30 minutes. Once the chicken comes out, you want to take that buttery garlic sauce and just spoon it over the top of the chicken as much as you can. That is where so much of the flavor is. I love this meal because it was actually something that I made during a pantry challenge because there are so few ingredients. You have butter, you have garlic, you have chicken, and you are good to go. And this tastes like restaurant worthy. Like, it's so delicious and flavorful, and I will definitely make it time and time again. The next meal is another one-pot meal. It's a one-pot Asian chicken and rice. Start by combining 2 tablespoons of soy sauce with 2 tablespoons of hoisin sauce. I was just using what I had left in the bottom of this container, so I just used a spoon and hopefully I got about 2 tablespoons. The flavor was delicious, so use what you have. Then add 1 tablespoon of rice wine vinegar and 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Now, I was supposed to add 2 tablespoons of honey and 2 tablespoons of minced garlic at this time, but there was a lot going on in my house this evening and I completely forgot. I did remember later, so I ended up adding garlic powder as I was cooking the chicken, and I put honey over the top of it after I ended up cooking it, and it still tasted great. So sometimes, you don't remember all the ingredients during the time that you're cooking it, and it's not a huge deal. You can just go in and add them when feels right, and sometimes it still turns out good. The recipe calls for 5 chicken thighs, and I had 8. So what I ended up doing was covering 6 of them pretty well. I knew I was going to add a 6th one to the pan no matter what, because I knew I could fit that in my Dutch oven. And then I had 2 more, and I did have enough marinade to actually cover those as well. So I marinated those, and then I just baked that chicken on the side instead of putting it in the Dutch oven with my rice for this recipe. And then I had more chicken for the rest of the week, which was good, because I didn't really want to save 2 chicken thighs. I used my Dutch oven, but you could also use a cast iron pan again for this. I added a little bit of olive oil to the bottom of the pan. That is your choice whether you want to do that or not. I do like to cook mine in a little bit of oil to get started. Heat the oil over medium heat and then sear your chicken thighs skin side down. You also want to add in any extra marinade at this time. You want to turn them once until golden on both sides. That's about 3 minutes on each side. Now, real life here, I burned my skin because our tax accountant called when I was making this, and I was like, uh-oh, I walked away, didn't even think about it, needed to talk about something, and yep, burned that skin. But that's okay because it still tasted really good. I love a char on the skin anyway, kind of like a barbecued chicken, but you can always peel the skin off and you get all the juicy flavor from it even if you don't eat the skin. So yep, burned it up. Looks a little bit crispy, but it still tasted good. Now you want to take your chicken out of the pan for a few minutes, and we're going to add an entire chopped white onion or yellow onion and cook that down for a few minutes. This is also where I added some extra garlic powder because you can add fresh garlic at this point as well. Add in 1.5 cups of long grain white rice and stir so that everything is well mixed up. Then you want to add in 1/2 cup of water, 2.5 cups of chicken broth or bone broth, or in my case I use chicken bouillon because that's what I had on hand and it's super cheap. Homemade broth is cheap too. And a tablespoon of oyster sauce. Allow this to simmer uncovered for about 5 minutes and then return your chicken thighs, burnt or not burnt, to your pot. Then you want to put a lid or a double layer of foil if you are using a cast iron pan that doesn't have a cover, and bake in the oven for 40 minutes at 390 degrees. Now I know that's weird, so I'm guessing this was maybe initially developed in a different country that was going by Celsius, because it says an oven at 200 degrees Celsius or 390 degrees Fahrenheit. And don't forget to return those juices to the pan. You want all of that deliciousness. After 40 minutes, I removed my chicken from the oven. I remembered to put that honey on, so it's almost like a glaze at this point. And then I added 3/4 cup, it's actually probably a little more than that. I just used what I had left in the bag, of some defrosted mixed vegetables. It says peas and carrots on the website specifically, but I just had mixed veggies, so I put them all in there. And then it says to kind of tuck them underneath your rice and chicken as much as possible. And then we're gonna recover this and cook it for another 10 minutes. At this point, you could remove the top of the pot and broil it for another 10 minutes to get your chicken skins a little bit crispier. In my case, I did not need to do that, so that wasn't going to happen. Overall, this dinner was amazing. I served it with some spring rolls from the Dollar Tree and some extra dumplings that I had left over. So we had like a whole Chinese meal, and it was absolutely fantastic. But you don't even need those sides. You can do this meal, and it's so cheap. Use whatever leftover vegetables you have. You have some rice on hand and chicken thighs, a little bit of Asian seasonings, and you are ready to go. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video today. I hope you got some great ideas for chicken thighs. If you want to see some more budget meals, I'm going to put up a video right here for you. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I have so many good budget meals coming out for you in the future, and I don't want you to miss it. Hit that notification bell if you haven't already so you get notified when I post a new video, and I will see you all very soon. Oh, and like this video. Don't forget to like this video.
Out of you.